farewell to arms? No, this is a farewell to farms. What's up, my know-it-alls?
Yeah, that. What's up, my know-it-alls? Welcome, of course, to another episode, a fun-filled, exciting episode of Mr. Know-it-all Reviews Star Trek. And this week, we're looking at Lower Decks. The most recent episode, as Baby Know-it-all just told us, Farewell to Farms. So this is actually a pretty fun one, and we're having a good time in that this whole episode is callbacks all day long. Specifically, we've got Klingon characters from the past. We've got Dr. Miglimo being all involved with his people and the Cloakins and their whole history of food loving, apparently, which is the only reason why they went out into space and invented warp drive, which I find fascinating. And of course, it's funny, our main characters actually kind of play a back seat. This is probably the first episode that was, relatively speaking, interesting in exploring some new things. It was the short version is the Klingon guy is the same. He's the same exact Klingon from previous seasons, where he had helped Mariner and they uncovered the fact that the commander or whoever, not commander, but the other person who he was working with, I think it was the commander of his ship, had betrayed, was actually doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing, and it's all in the previous review. I'll put a card right over here. So at the end of the day, he's been dishonored and he's at home on his Targfarm where they make blood wine, because they catch the I think that's the gawkworms that they squash in order to make blood wine, which I had this entire process was way more involved than I've ever been.
They were getting into it, honestly. They showed, the opening credits scene, like, it wasn't even like the regular opening credits scene, word their heart. And, like, it's just showing this, like, entire thing of how they make the worm wine or whatever.
Yeah, it was really, I was like, what? It was very interesting. And then, of course, on the ship, Dr. Miglimo, he's trying to help them figure out what's going on with these two people who are like the holy ones of his planet's food culture. They're basically a planet of food critics. Hoity-toity food critics, seriously. If you ever watched Kitchen Nightmares, you know exactly what we're talking about. So, I liked the episode, and like I said, it was the first time something interesting had happened. The Klingon ritual stuff I thought was really cool, and it's a very Star Trek to have Klingon customs used in creative ways, and I thought that was interesting. Overall, I enjoyed the episode.
I liked it.
Yeah, we didn't see much of Mariner or of Boimler, which I hope isn't
okay, no, that's horrible. Oh my god. No, okay. Boimler was low-key fangirling the entire time with Klingons.
It is a chain. Still exciting. Ooh, look at that detox. Sorry for Boimler. He's going through a big Klingon phase lately.
And he has a mustache now. So, like, I guess whatever you try to do is working. So go ahead.
True story.
And then, like, we got to see the captain of the ship for when we were with Tendy and Reddifer. We got to see her. And she was slaying, honestly.
She was good.
She was so sick.
Yeah, I like her. That's her over your shoulder. Again, it was a good episode. It was a very good episode. And I'm trying to think if I really need to. They did the pain stick thing. They did there was a lot of the Klingon things that are happening are actually very good if you've been any kind of measure of a Star Trek fan and you've seen it for any amount of time and you've actually watched the series, you got all the callbacks. When I was younger, I was in a Star Trek fan club, Starfleet International Fan Club, and my persona was a Klingon. So I'm very fascinated by.
That's out.
Thank you. But I enjoyed watching this episode for sure from that perspective. I should have brought my blood wine cup.
You have a blood wine cup?
That metal cup that's been floating up that your mom has upstairs. It's upstairs.
Like upstairs?
No, like it should be on the freezer, near the fridge and stuff, or not where the freezer's at. It's a metal cup. It's got a handle and little flared out top.
It's on the cup.
I'm gonna cut that out.
Aww.
Well, you want me to keep it in there? Really? That you went and got it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll get it in there. So yes, here's as we were talking. Please forget the random cut that shows that I suddenly have the cup. No, yeah, so they were using these cups, which I thought was great. This is like one of the most Star Trek things. We got this at Star Trek Nash when Mr. Know-It-All and I went. And so, yeah, man, it was very cool to have the Klingon culture-ness of it all put out there on display. The basic gist of the thing is that he's got to re-get his honor back. The brother of the guy he killed in the previous episode was really upset at him, and so won't give him back, or won't allow him to appeal the decision to sort of kick him out. And so because Boimler knows everything about obscure information, he finds a really obscure ritual that allows him to initiate a series of events, which is just an excuse for us to get to see old Klingon stuff, which I'm okay with. Seeing it in this context, it was fun. I don't remember them having, like, grades on the floor when Worf did it. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember it being quite so colorful, but at the same time, whatever, this is an animation. Having the fact that they continue the fact that Mariner knows apparently every Klingon of importance.
Yeah, she just knows people apparently.
Yeah, she is, as Baby Noel would say, so slay.
She is so slay. And then back on the ship, what do you call it? Miglimo. Yep, that's his name. And when I know names, guys. Dr. Miglimo is approached by these other bird Miglimos.
Cloakins.
Sorry, guys. I know some stuff. So, anyways. He's approached by these Cloakins, and they're these food critics. And so, like, they're just, like, really dramatic about everything. They're like, what is this lighting? Why are the rugs not vacuumed? Like, all this stuff. And then they hadn't even tried the food yet. And then when they try the food, they're, like, they take a, like, itty-bitty thing. You know how when kids don't want to try something and then they'll just take a tiny little bite? That's basically what they were doing. And they're spitting out like, this is awful, this is horrible. And then he was like, well, like I used a replicator.
Replicated? Blasphemy!
How dare you call yourself a chef?
Well, I don't. I'm a psychologist. More of a chef of the mind.
And like it was a whole thing.
Whole thing.
Do you want to switch back to?
Maybe we go for it.
Okay, and then he was like, oh yeah, like obviously I used a replicator, duh. Like I should actually like hand cook it. And so the gang like helps him cook.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? What was the fish?
I'm not sure about this.
Nonsense. This hogfish galantine has turned out as plorpful as those on a Nara Prime.
It wasn't a hogfish. A hogfish. Helps him cook a hogfish. And they were like, yeah, like, oh my gosh, like, this is, like, the best dish in the galaxy. Like, this is great. Same thing as a kid would do. Take an itty-bitty little bite, and then they spit it out, and they're like, you're going to, like, food jail or something.
Food jail. That's exactly what it was. I mean, it's what it boils down to. Food jail.
Yeah, so then they take him to food jail, and, like, they're like, what's going on? And basically, they were like, well, wait a second. And then so the gang flips. What even was it?
They were gonna feed them oysters as like they have in the Mouche Bouche when they get you get hors d'oeuvres when you go to the planet regardless. And so apparently because they were suspicious, they switched the oysters for like poop.
Oh, delicious as always.
Fine.
Aha! I knew it!
These aren't your oysters. We swapped them with some manure we made with the replicator.
And so the
Replicator.
Yeah.
The replicator.
Yeah.
Right. And then they were like, what do you mean? And then the birds, like the other cloacans, like the like little like spa cloacans, like they smelled it. They were like, oh, this is nasty. Da, 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 da. Come to find out, they lost their taste buds.
Which a cloacan without taste buds is no cloacan at all.
I have no sense of anything. So then the psychology in
Dr. Miglimo.
Miglimo, I almost called him Gizmo, not like the little 80s character. Yeah. Dr. Miglimo is like, yeah, it's psychology, and I can help you through it. They were like, oh my gosh, yay. And so that's the end of that story. So then you go.
So then the Klingon knows. When we jump back to the Klingons, they managed to realize that there's another thing they can do because they've been cornered. The last thing they have to do is he has to sacrifice one of the members of his crew. So what they do is they use an ancient Klingon ritual because Boimler knows all of them, which involves forced conscription. They forced conscript the guy who's making their friend have a hard time, Yeah. They force him to join his crew. Now he chooses him to die. So if his guy's got to let him out of his thing, or he's good, and then he ends up stabbing dude stabs him back. It's a whole thing. And
There was fire. There was just a whole bunch of unnecessary fire, which I didn't understand that part. Unless there was a random fire that started, there was no reason to have fire all around.
welcome to Star Trek. Bro, how much have we seen that where, like, for no reason, there's just flames? And it's like, okay. Yeah, it's the minute it happened, I was like, this is the most Star Trek.
And I didn't even understand it. And he was like, no, that's normal. I'm like, what do you mean it's normal? There's no reason to do all that.
She's absolutely right. There isn't, and that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it so much so Star Trek. Because growing up, that's how it was. Like, seriously, you'd see these things, you'd be like, why is this scene so dramatic all of a sudden? There's like fire everywhere. One of my favorites ones was the Stargazer episode with Picard, because I know it's like there's flames all of a sudden, and you're like, what is going on here? Anyway, so yeah, when you said that, I was like, that's hilarious. But yeah, so once they end up defeating, and he defeats the dude, literally killing him. He's given his rank back as a captain.
He ended up killing both brothers, apparently, so...
And he's a captain again, and his brother and him are captaining the one ship they have. It's a small little ship. But they've learned...
It's nice.
And the lesson was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. And just, like, be nice to your brother or something.
Yeah.
Because they were, like, fighting in the beginning, and now they're, like, not.
So there you go. Now you know. And if you only half the battle, you're halfway, but you know it all yourself. What's the total index for us for this episode? What did you think? I thought it was Q2. I thought it was Q2.
What do you think?
Honestly, I'm going to give this... This is probably, honestly, the better episode of the season. I'm going to give this episode an 8.
I was thinking 8.5.
Right on.
And it's not because we didn't see a lot of the main character.
No.
Oh, there's a random hole that broke out in Klingon space.
Right. Continuing the storyline of the potential alternate universes. I thought that was very interesting.
They would kind of said it, like, briefly, though. Like, that's, I mean, I'm just remembering it, unfortunately, so.
No, we'll see what that's all about, though, because, again, I don't think there's anything suspicious going on there. I think I just think it's a thing, and we'll, whatever. I don't necessarily subscribe to all the alternate universe stuff, but hey, something, I think it's fun to think about, but, hopefully we'll talk more about this again soon. All right, guys, we'll see you again next week.
Wait! I have to point out my shirt.
Hey.
Look,
Yeah.
Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to point it out. They did get it for me when they were in Nashville, but I did have to point it out because I was like, oh my gosh, like, why don't I wear it?
There you go.
Okay, now I can say it.
Never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bye, guys.